The person at my window. This started about 6 months ago. I was getting ready for bed in my room. It was maybe 10 p.m. My curtains were closed so I couldn't see out the window, but I heard 3 hard knocks on the glass. Of course that scared the living shit out of me, so I didn't even look and ran to get my dad. Now, I live with my parents and 2 brothers in a fairly busy neighborhood, so noises weren't uncommon to hear. But this knock was directly on my window and very distinct. The thing was, my bedroom doesn't face the front of the house or the road or anything. My room's actually towards the back of the house, so someone would have had to walk to the backyard in order to knock on my window. I had my dad check, but when he opened the curtains, no one was there. He even went in the backyard to make sure. Still, no one. That was the first incident. I closed my windows and brushed it off as me just hearing things, or some sort of animal. The following night at almost the same exact time, I heard another 3 knocks on my window. Immediately, I went and got my dad again, just for him to see nothing again. But this time, I didn't brush it off and slept in my parents' room on the floor. The next few nights, there was nothing until about a week later. It was about 1 a.m., I think, and I heard the knocking again. It wasn't 3 times, though. It was more. It was persistent, and it woke me out of a dead sleep. I was tempted to just look out the window to see who, but part of me didn't want to know. I went and got my parents, who didn't bother to check at this point because, come on. With it happening so frequently and nothing being there, it sounds like I'm crying wolf. I kept hearing the knocking for the next few nights after, to the point where I ended up just sleeping on the couch. My parents decided to just let me move bedrooms, and so they moved my bedroom into what was the office and switched everything around, so I hopefully wouldn't hear anything else. And after that, I actually didn't hear anything until 3 nights later. But this time, when I looked out the window, I saw something. I assume it was a man or a very big-built woman, crouching down, wearing a gray hoodie and dark jeans. I closed the curtains, went and got my parents and told them all about it, and we called the police. They advised we get a camera facing my bedroom and around that area of the house, so that's what we did. Since then, I haven't heard the knocking. Creepy guy at 5 a.m. This happened when I was 17. I was walking home from a party and it was pretty late, maybe around 4:30 or 5 a.m. One of my guy friends had decided to walk me home since he didn't want me to walk alone so late. The streets were empty and it was pitch black. As we're walking and chatting, a man starts walking up to us. When he approaches, he starts saying over and over again, "Hey, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy, I promise." He didn't seem threatening, and I remember that I didn't feel scared, maybe because I was with my friend who's pretty fit. So this guy starts asking us for money to buy a sandwich and tells us that he can't return home until 10 a.m. because his neighbor has a restraining order against him. Apparently the neighbor leaves for work at that hour. We were just thinking, what the fuck is going on? We decided to give him some money so he would leave us alone. We gave him around 5 euros, which is more than enough to buy a sandwich. We then lied and told him that's all we had. Then, this man looks at me and goes, "No, that's not true. You have more money in your wallet. I can see it from here." At that point, I just put my wallet back into my purse and told him I couldn't give him any more money. As we were walking away from this man, he once again catches up to us and goes, "Why don't you guys come with me to try and find a vending machine, and that way you can make sure I'm not spending your money on drugs?" I don't exactly remember what we told him, but there was no way we were going with him anywhere. Even though I didn't feel scared or threatened at that moment, in hindsight it was pretty creepy, and I'm just glad my friend insisted on walking me home. The whistling follower. When I was 16, I was in a choir at my high school that performed for a lot of different events around town. One of them was to sing at the middle school sporting events. The middle school in my hometown was just about a half mile away from my childhood home, so whenever we had events there, I walked. This one night, I think it was November, we had to sing at a basketball game, and it was obviously dark when I was able to leave. Normally, I wasn't allowed to walk alone at night, but for choir, I was given permission unless I felt unsafe. But there really wasn't any reason to be creeped out. I began my walk, and just down the middle school is a stretch of road with almost no streetlights. That did actually always creep me out when walking. I crossed quickly and had a fast pace going, as I'm a naturally paranoid person. About 2 minutes into the dark zone, I heard rapid footsteps behind me. At first, I figured it was the jogger, but they made no attempt to pass me and just stayed a 10-foot distance away. They began whistling a jaunty tune, which at first I thought was fun, so I wasn't super scared. Perhaps because the whistling tune sounded so happy and upbeat, but I noticed the footsteps began to speed up. There were no cars on the road, and given the lack of light, when I turned around, all I could see was a silhouette shrouded in darkness. At that realization, I quickened my pace to barely under a run. The whistling continued, getting more breathless as this person began to run after me. I looked back to see a dark figure coming at me full speed and in terror began to run frantically as well. I will never forget those last moments, running through the cold night, hearing his whistling and footsteps getting closer and closer. This person followed me all the way up to my door, and I ran inside, shutting the door. I locked it, checked all other doors, and went to my upstairs bedroom. From the window, I could still see a silhouette and could still hear him whistling.